I have plenty of fusion parts. How does the neighbor bonus work on a fusion reactor? You do an H. Rate my fusion plant. Look how thick these belts are. Oh, 750 holmium plates per minute. Ooh, we got our first holmium plate in legendary quality. All this just to get some fancy armor. I took some time AFK, did a little bit of work off camera, ran around just tweaking the factory a little bit. I extended it out over here and just patched up bottlenecks everywhere until we got a bit of a steady supply. And you can see here, we're still not quite perfect yet. We're low on plastic actually, which is quite interesting. But at some point we had all of these machines running, and that was giving us quite a full output of supercapacitors that we could then upcycle. We almost have all the ingredients we need to make legendary mech armor. I've got my 100 holmium plates here. We've got plenty of supercapacitors and superconductors left over. But we also have a little bit extra here. I actually made some excess supercapacitors, and I threw 100 of them into here. And that ended up giving us this number of items. So that's 58 plus 103. That almost gets us to 200 holmium plates that we need for our armor. That's really exciting because we're nearly there. The other thing too is we have a very, very full surplus of legendary ores back on Narvis. That's going to give us plenty to work with. I also realized that I'm recycling all of my circuits. And I realized, why am I doing that? Because a lot of green circuits are going straight into making supercapacitors, and then we just discard everything else. And I thought, why are we doing that when circuits are literally free? And I could be instead using them to make modules. I could do quality modules, I could do speed modules, efficiency, productivity. It's just a waste if I'm getting rid of them and doing nothing. So I thought, why don't we make our module factory here on Fulgora instead of having to cobble it together on Narvis? Because this is not the greatest factory by a stretch. I mean, it was pretty good when I first built it, and it served us for a pretty long time, but I think we can do better. And I think we can do better here on Fulgora because these chips are literally free. So what I've done is I've thrown quality modules into these recyclers to get rid of the blue processing units. And that's hopefully going to give us a little bit of quality so that we can make a few various quality module crafters, as well as other modules. But I just want to focus on the quality modules for today. To do that, we need green circuits and we need red circuits. And I've separated them out here so that we can easily pick them out. And these are going to make our quality modules, but I also want to throw quality modules into the quality module crafters. Hopefully that's going to get us a nice little output. Okay, the next thing I need to do is output these. So we can output these, and then I need to filter by quality. So anything that's greater than uncommon needs to then go somewhere special. And then we need to turn these quality module level 1s into a higher tier. So quality module 2s need blue circuits, so we need to make sure we're not scrapping all of our blue circuits. Looks like we got plenty of quality modules. quality, we love that. So the next thing then is to bring this around for a second round. And these are going to make tier 2s. We need to reach over for the quality modules, and then we need a bulk inserter to reach over for the circuits, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to get those circuits across. Let's split this. Then this can come around into these machines. Awesome. And eventually the red circuits will come through here and populate that. And then we can export these onto yet another belt. And we'll probably have to do our tier 3 crafting over here. This is going really slow. Because this is backed up. Okay, so then we need a chest to store our quality circuits. That should get everything running again. All right, so the next thing is we need to grab another... Oh, hang on. What's going on here? What the heck? How did this get full? Okay, one sec. Wow, okay. Let's throw some speed modules into that. Try and speed that up. Okay, that should get those gears turning again. How are we looking on our circuits? Are they coming through? Ooh, yeah, we are. Okay, but that's just one source of circuits. We have another source over here where I duplicated our recyclers. It's going to fill all that up. Excellent. And I think I can just do a belt merger. Now the trick with these quality modules is we can't put any speed on them. So if we want to speed up the production rates, we actually have to increase the number of machines we have. Or we can do something else where if I come over to here, what I've actually been doing, I've set up some electromagnetic plants with quality modules to make us electromagnetic plants. And some of them have come out with a better quality. So I might grab some of those and use these for the quality modules instead. And a higher grade electromagnetic plant works at a faster crafting speed. So we can see the difference between these. We got crafting speed 1.5 and then crafting speed 2.4. So we've almost doubled the crafting speed, which is excellent. That's what we want. So I'm going to put more of these down. But we do have another problem, and that is we have a bit of a power crisis, and this fusion generator has been running overtime trying to supply enough power to the factory. And these have been depleting. If we take a look at our lifetime consumption rates, we can see here that we have consumed a grand total of 104 fusion power cells. That's 2 stacks, which is a little scary because I only brought 8 stacks here. So we've already consumed a quarter of our fusion cells, which is a little upsetting. So what I've done is I've placed efficiency modules everywhere to try and keep the power usage down. And I had to slow down these guys a little bit, which is why I've extended them up here. All of these, pretty much all of these recyclers are running, which is good. That means we're getting the maximum throughput efficiency that we're after. And we've also got plenty of epic supercapacitors here, which is really nice because what we can then do is take, say, 100 of them, shove them in here, and they're going to get broken down into bits. And some of them are going to be legendary bits, which will help us with our item count here. Gets us a little bit closer to legendary mech armor, a little bit quicker as well. Yes, I know things on Narvis are still getting attacked. Ooh, we've got output. So let's upgrade these. And the next thing we need to do is bring this across and we can start making tier 3 modules. And I need to run a splitter here to filter for anything greater than uncommon. Throw down an inserter running into another chest. Ah, look at that. We have rare quality module. Nice. So then we need to run this down a line and run electromagnetic plants on this side. And we need to mix that with more of these. And the other thing we need is supercapacitors, which we need to source. The only issue with supercapacitors is they're all getting used up at the moment. Plastic is the bottleneck, so we need to find some way to get more plastic in. Low density structures might end up being our source of plastic, so instead of scrapping it straight up, let's try and salvage some of this stuff. So I can run a belt here, we can filter out the plastic, then we need to scrap everything else, so that'll probably sort that out. Then the plastic can come through, and we can deliver this plastic over to our main area. No! Messing these belts up. Okay, I'm going to find plastic somewhere else in the factory, and that's not going to be fun, but whatever. Yep, there we go. That's going to filter around and get totally consumed almost immediately. Okay, nice. Alright, hopefully that helps with the production rates of our supercapacitors, because we now need to grab some of those supercapacitors and use them for our quality modules. Okay, so the superconductors are coming through, they're going across. Somehow we've got some batteries in here. Why do we have batteries in here? Then we can bring the supercapacitors across and over to here. We could just do a quick flip over here using a splitter. There we go. There's our supercapacitors. And we should now have quality module 3s. That's awesome. Now we need to figure out what to do with them. I might move these down here and instead run the belt up north, because that way we can then split this by quality. And I'm just going to stick them in to here. I think a legendary tier 1 module is the same as a standard tier 3 module, 2.5, yeah. So it's not worth using these little ones unless we absolutely have to. Let's see, what have we got in here? Okay, 3.2% from a quality module 2. We can definitely chuck that into here and replace one of these tier 3s. All right, I think that's qualityed up. So we're getting 14% quality out of this guy here, which is not bad. Okay, these guys aren't running because these are just working too slowly. So we can start now duplicating these. Cool. All right, that should give us some good quality modules eventually. We need to then take the tier 3 quality modules, and I think what we need to do with those, we can either store them. Yeah, I might store them, but then the rest of them, I think we can recycle, and we can upcycle them so we get some better materials. So let's bring this across, and then we need to throw some quality modules into these recyclers. We need to start sorting these. There we go. And then the next thing we need to do here is filter them by quality. And then because I'm lazy, these are just going to go into chests, and the robots can deal with sorting that out. And then the rest needs to return to the pile. So we need to combine these two, and we need to combine these two. We need to bring the quality modules and the supercapacitors back over to here. We can do that pretty easily with some tunnels like that. We need to do the same for circuits. And we should be able to just run this straight up here into there. Awesome. So that should now be a full upcycling setup for our modules. Once this fills up, which it almost has, I can fill that up now. That should now start overflowing, and that should now get upcycled by our recyclers. And there we go. We're starting to get our items back. Ooh, getting some good modules. This is cool. So now it's just a matter of shoving these modules into these machines until everything has been upgraded. And then what we need to do is we have these upgraded modules. This is where it's going to get really messy. What if we just use these to straight up craft better quality ones? If we grab one of these, we want to make a tier 2, but we want to make a tier 2 of higher quality. And then we copy that, and this one's going to make a tier 2 of even higher quality. These do need higher grade components, so this is the part where we start asking for these items. And they're going to get inserted, and eventually, once we throw down some quality modules in here, eventually that's going to start producing us some better items. We can probably just copy this setup here and change this over to our tier 3 modules. Yes, this is going to work. It's going to be very, very slow, but it's going to work. Then we can just copy the ingredients into these requester chests. This is blocked. Why is this? Oh, I need to filter this by any quality. Okay, yes. So what was happening is there were some quality items ending up on the belt, and they had nowhere to go because they weren't getting filtered. And so they were just passing through the belt and clogging it up so it couldn't move. So we need to fix that. There we go. Yeah, everything's moving again. So the only thing left really is to wait for these to craft more. These aren't running because they're not making modules. Why aren't you making modules? We're out of red circuits somehow. How did we run out of red circuits? Oh, I see. We have way too many green circuits. Okay, what can we do about that? Hang on, what the heck is going on here? What did I do to my belts? Oh, okay, I see the problem. I didn't properly double lane it properly. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, that's a big problem. They're all batteries. I'm gonna have to sit here munching on batteries. Whoops. We have way too many greens, so we need to then turn the excess into junk. We're gonna need to run some speed modules on those, which then frees up space for these guys to start running, which it looks like it does. Oh! Craft a legendary quality module 3. We did it! Where did it go? Wait a minute, where did it go? Where did it go? Wait, don't tell me we just scrapped it. Where is it? Uh-oh. Did we just scrap it? Oh wait, no, it upcycled. We got 2 of them! Holy moly, chat, we just got 2 legendary quality modules. Plus 6.2%. Oh! Maybe I'll chuck that into here so that it hopefully upcycles more often. Ooh. 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 I know I'm making some strange noises right now, but this is really cool. We got our first 2 legendaries. Okay, how's this going? Okay, I'm going to grab another 50 supercapacitors and I'm going to shove them in here and see what we get. Okay, we got 64. It's climbing. Superconductors is good. We need those. I don't want to scrap all of our supercapacitors because they are going to be useful for making personal batteries. We need to figure out the legendary low density structures and the processing units. I think the processing units would be easy to do if I just take my legendary circuits from this setup here. We need 100 legendary processing units for the mech armor, and each one takes 20, and we can get a productivity bonus of plus 90%. So let's say we can make a blue chip out of 10 of these. We have 765 legendary green chips. So 765 divided by 10, we can only make 76. Ooh, that's a problem. We can only make 76 blue circuits out of this. However, we can make circuits using all of these legendary ores we have here. Okay, we might be saved. Okay, looks like we need to make more quality modules. Plonk you down there. All right, that's going to be an extra module. We could expand over this side as well. Yeah, just. What I might do is build a requester chest, ask for all of the higher grade quality modules. Request can't be used for its ambiguity. Oh, that's annoying. So we're going to have to request multiple. 500, 500, 500, and 500. There we go. Oh, we got an epic. Fuck that on the pile. Okay, why is this not running? Somehow we've got supercapacitors on both sides of the belt. Oh, hang on. Wait. How is this sushiing? Okay, that's not what we want. Interesting. How does sushi belt mechanics actually work? How do you set them up? I'd really like to know. I don't think I've ever built a more spaghettified base than this. This is getting a little ridiculous. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit more red circuits. Electrolytes are another source of slowness for us as well. Can I squeeze another beacon to speed that up? I don't think I can. Or can we? No, hang on, we can. There we go, shove some more speed in there. Okay, how are we looking here? 100 plus 14 and 81. Ooh, that actually gets us really close. 195. Oh, we're nearly there. We want to hold on to as much holmium ore as we can. What I might do is we can build a chest of holmium ore and then deposit that back into the network once we're out. I think that'll work. I don't know what to do with all these better holmium ores. Honestly, I might just have to try and find a way to get rid of them. I'm going to stick them in a chest for now though. I never thought I'd ever be full on holmium ore. This is quite a milestone. Okay, I think I'm coming up on something that I remember learning from our time doing this on Narvis. We're getting quality modules of tier 1, of higher tier 1, but then I'm not exactly doing anything useful with them because we can't get enough higher grade processing units. So what I need to do is, yeah, I think I need to swap these over to, you can't put productivity modules in them. Okay, maybe we just throw speed in instead so that they come out quicker and then they can get turned into quality module 2s and then quality module 3s, and they can get upcycled quicker as well. I think that's what we learned back on Narvis. Okay, these are looking nice. Can we throw down some better quality on these now? Yep, looks like we can. Do we want to be putting quality into these as well, or do we want them to have speed too? What do we do on Narvis? We had speed. Hang on. What was I even doing here? I was just turning the tier 1 straight into, okay. But yeah, these were not doing quality. Okay, so we can get rid of these and also put speed in them. And then we can save all of the quality modules for recycling. I think there's only one answer for how to increase production, and that is just to copy everything and build it again. So if we build another unit like this, we need to bring scrap over. Scrap, thankfully, is right here, so we could just set up some drills. Not doing the quality thing again, that was silly. There we go, we got scrap. And then we got to copy this shenanigans again. Which I made a much more compact version here. There we go, so that's going to filter all those items out. And then we got to copy the whole setup again of getting rid of it all. Yeah, I don't think I've ever made a messier spaghetti mess than this. How's your Fulgora bases going? Are they as bad as this? Boom. More holmium. As if we needed more holmium. That's not something anyone is probably ever said in Factorio. We're out of circuits. Ah, okay. Am I still scrapping circuits anywhere? Don't think so. We could probably start getting rid of some of this legacy stuff here. Yeah, we can get rid of all this. We're certainly not using that anymore. Oh, it feels good clearing out space. Get rid of all this and all this. Okay, but our problem is we don't have any circuits coming through. We've got blue circuits coming in through here, but they're all going up here for these. How many blue circuits are we actually producing per minute? 400. Where are they all going? Now we got a backup of red circuits here, which is a first. So we could probably try scrapping those. We need to figure out where to put the green circuits. We didn't make a bus. I did not plan ahead, so we didn't make a bus, so there's nowhere that I can actually deliver these green circuits cleanly. So that's going to be our green circuits, and then the rest can just come back to get scrapped. Something like that. How on earth did we get so many red circuits? I've been struggling for red circuits for ages. More speed modules. You get a speed module, and you get a speed module. There we go. Okay, that should really overdrive our production. Okay, how is all this going? 100 plus 18 plus 81. I think that's 199. We're one holmium short. This is still sushi building. I thought I could just swap it with the splitter, just swap the items on the other side. But I can't. Okay, that's really upsetting. What we can do instead is just do some good old-fashioned tunnels. Like that. Alright, that's definitely got to be a surefire way to not sushi belt. Again, I've got so much holmium on me. Let's go chuck those into our chemical plants, which are so full. We have so much holmium. I never thought we would have this much holmium. Oh my goodness, it's backed up. How do we have this much holmium? Is this a poggers or is this a... Ugh. Do we have too much holmium? This is backing up. Okay, maybe we deal with that another time, because I believe we now have all of our holmium plates to make legendary power armor.